Hello, everybody. So I'm going to ask a question here based on my game that I've been putzing around with. Like one of my previous videos, I keep remaking the same game as I learn more and more, and then take what I've learned and optimize it for the next time. So, this is my inventory screen with the character stats and equipment info based on if there's something in the backpack. They click on it, then it loads the stats, and if they're equipped something, then it updates up here, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to debug the layout to get some data here. And the thing that I'm questioning, so yesterday this was at 1600 and we got that solved. Object count 562 because I've got a skill tree, I've got, that inventory stuff that I showed you, character info, all those icons everywhere that are just based on a click of a button that show up and that kind of stuff. But my question is this. Right now my collision checks are 0 per second. That's because I turned them all off. But I'm going to turn one of them back on. You see this piece of loot over here? When I move my character over there, come on, it doesn't pick it up because I turned off the collision detection. So there's my guy. He's aggroed now, so he's going to keep following me so long as he can see me, line of sight and all that stuff. So let me put the collision detection back on. And so I want to show you what it's doing. I know it's probably not optimized, but so on collision with loot, if the loot is on, loot layer, because I do have this loot sprite used in the inventory system and stuff like that. So I didn't want to create a brand new duplicate sprite images to say inventory loot versus loot on ground, name it. I kept one sprite, but just with a bunch of frames. Each frame has a unique item. So I got some global variables there. I've got some checkers. First, check if inventory spots are available. I won't show you that thing, but then it goes down here with a sub event based on this result. So this will calculate some stuff, and if player inventory slot to use is greater than 0, because I do a reverse count anyhow, it puts in my little chat box that item, updated so the player knows. And then once it's finished, this thing here, add loot item to inventory is finished. Then I set item ID to 0, set to invisible, and move on from that point. And actually, I might be deleting this later. Then I do a glass destroyed so that I get a queue. This is just in my testing environment. I'll get rid of the glass destroyed eventually here, but that's just so that I know that things work. I think I had this stuff here just to debug earlier, and the like. I probably should put in a destroyed is what I should do, is put in a destroyed icon there, action. So I'm going to go ahead. So withstanding all that, because that's really not what I'm asking about. So I know you might say, well, do it this way or, fix that or whatever. But what I'm really interested in getting some advice on is this. Debug layout. Now my layout's a standard 892 by 512 or somewhere around there. I know I should know that right now.
Defend!
But, yeah, 896 by 512. Don't ask me how I came up with that. It just worked. But here's what'll happen. So I'm just going to get rid of this guy.
Right attack!
Actually, I can't.
Left attack!
Because I don't have a collision detection on. I have a collision detection every time I throw
right attack!
An item, but I don't have that on. So if you look down here, because I have the collision detection back for that loot that I just showed you, 6,480 per second, 108 per tick. Now, it seems like my game is working just fine, and I'll never have more than like 8 to 20 enemies on the screen, and I've tested it, and it's fine now that I got rid of my image memory down to 1600. It seems like that helped a lot. I'm just trying to figure out, is this ridiculous? Or is this standard? Is this okay? How is this calculated? Is it based on the screen size divided by some number, or multiplied by some number? Is it something to the second power, or something factored in there? Should I be looking for ways to reduce this? Because let's say I do have a map that's 4 times the size. So it's over here and down and below. Maybe that's a reasonable thing I want to do later on. I'm just worried that now that thing will like sucker up to 24,000 or something like that and slow down the game. So I ideally, and I know there's some tearing there. Ideally, I want to have the player roll over the item and check inventory, blah, blah, blah. You know, if there's no space, then it doesn't get picked up, but then it disappears on them. And then I can also do some other things too. Like if you know, player distance is less than equal, you know, 20 from loot position, you know, automatically move to player and then do the collide, you know, kind of thing. But I also thought about, well, maybe it's not a collision, but every time I get close to an object, I click on it and then it does a test. If player distance from loot selected or loot, you know, loot clicked on is less than equal 50, then do the inventory functions. That would get rid of the collision detection. However, then I'm doing the math, right? Or doing the object, which, you know, would be based on the mouse click. However, then I'm like, well, what if the player wants to just hover over the item to see what it is? Maybe I want to do a hover. When hovering over loot item, bring up the name of the loot, bring up some information about it, so then the player can select it or left click on it to pick it up instead of an auto. So again, I'm just learning all this stuff, so thanks for watching. This is already a 6-minute video. Shame on me, but then I'm like, well, the hover function, isn't that just another way to do collision detection? Like, I know it's not the same thing, but every tick, it's trying to figure out if my mouse is hovered over an object. Isn't that the same as what collision does? Like every second or every tick, it's trying to figure out if there's a collision or not. So I'm like, am I just wasting my time trying that method out? So what do you think? Thanks for watching if you've stuck with this. As I say, always learning. Thanks.